What's going on, guys? So, I figured I would talk about this just like for a minute because I know there's a lot of people out there who like to contribute factors to a failing system. Some people actually get it, some people don't. Um, the Wii U failed not because of its name, believe it or not, that actually wasn't that. Wasn't even that. It was confusing, yes, but that was not the reason it failed. Just like with the Nintendo Wii, they had a mission and they made that mission known with the statements what the Wii was in its advertising. Okay? The Wii U had all the opportunity in the world to have the same advertisements. They didn't go that route. You see what I'm saying? So, with the Wii U, what was the biggest issue with it? Well, the biggest issue with the Wii U was it was a system with a gamepad, a peripheral that over time became more and more useless. Um, Mainly because Nintendo themselves made it to where it wasn't even a real necessity. You know what I'm saying? Games like Smash Bros. You didn't have to have a gamepad for. Unlike the one game that the gamepad was needed for by Nintendo, which was Mario Maker. You know, there wasn't a whole lot of like super like I need the handheld or I need the fucking gamepad to make the game go crazy. No, there wasn't so many of those, making the damn thing useless. So you had a system built on something called a gamepad, which was already half pointless to begin with, but your name of it made the whole concept not real. Because had you advertised this machine as a system that came with a controller, you can call it the Pro controller if you want, came with that controller, people would understand what that meant. Oh, it's a Wii for you. Basically, this is an updated Wii meant to be played with everybody, but it's mainly for you. You know what I'm saying? Had they stressed that point, and people would have caught on to it. You know what I'm saying? Just like they did catch on to Wii Family. You know what I'm saying? They caught on to it. Nintendo, you could have easily spread that message by that controller, not the gamepad, but by showing the system with just a regular game controller, with just a regular Pro controller layout, no gamepad. The damn thing can run games that are on the 360. If this thing would have came out with a basic controller and not a gamepad, we might not have a Switch, but we might also not have an Xbox or a PlayStation. Because Nintendo outsold the PS3 and the 360 with the Wii. And the Wii U came in touting 1080p and, you know, HD graphics. They were touting that when Sony and Microsoft were touting that. You know what I'm saying? With the Wii U. So I can't blame the system because obviously the power is there if it can play 360 games. If it can handle the same games as on a 360, there's nothing holding that system back other than the gamepad. The biggest part of it was the gamepad. That was the worst fucking thing for the Wii U. That is legitimately what killed it. The gamepad. Name one company that wouldn't release a game on the Wii U if the gamepad was not the fucking controller. It was just the Pro controller is the controller. Nobody would have been like, no, we're not gonna release a game on the Wii U. No, it's not selling. Bullshit. That motherfucker would have sold. Games like Injustice came to the Wii U. You're telling me that, oh, there was. This wouldn't make that big of a difference? Bullshit. Dude, you're not seeing all these third party games. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, you got Injustice, you got Need for Speed Most Wanted, the one that was on the 360 and PS3. Yeah, that Need for Speed is on the Wii U. Okay? Games like Darksiders 2 is on the Wii U. Splinter Cell Blacklist. These games are on the PS3 and the 360. These third-party titles existed on those systems. So, the Wii U could play the same exact titles as the PS3 and 360. That gamepad gimped it so bad. Had it just come out with a regular fucking controller and they advertised it with the message Wii for you, meaning this is the same social system that the one before it was, but you don't have to have everyone around you when you want to play a game. You can still have that option because it's backwards compatible and you can hook up the Wiimotes to it and all that, sure. But it's not. You can do that, but this is also for you. This is your system. So you want to play it, here's a controller with an incredible battery life and all the games that you know and you've been playing on not only the PS3 and 360, but they're also new as in they're just coming out now. You do what I'm saying? The Wii U could have sold really well had they done that. Had they taken that gamepad away, nothing would have held Nintendo back. And the reason the Wii U had to fail is because the Switch was coming. If it would have been successful, who knows what the fuck we'd have right now from Nintendo, because we wouldn't even know the basis or the blueprint for the fucking Switch. I'm just putting it out there. You know what I'm saying? Just like with the PS3 had to fail for the PS4 to be successful. You know? The PS3 had to. It absolutely had to for the PS4 to be successful. Because how are you going to go from being the highest selling console? How are you going to remain relevant? You know what I'm saying? You can't. I mean, if you outsell yourself, yeah, that's cool. But that dog and or trick and pony show is only good a couple times. Because while you're innovating, and PlayStation unfortunately is not an innovator, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you can say they are now, but back then they were not an innovator. You know what I'm saying? They were not into the whole taking chances. You know, they passed on the Wiimotes until Nintendo beat their ass in sales and thought, oh, let's go get those because we're not making as much as they are. So anyway, my point is PlayStation, the PS3 had to fail for the PS4. The Nintendo Wii U had to fail for the Switch. The way it is. Whatever Xbox is coming out with next, I guarantee you is gonna be insane. Because it had to fail for whatever's coming. Okay? Because had Nintendo's Wii U been successful, it wouldn't have had to outsell the original Wii. It would have just had to have been successful in keeping up with PS3 and 360 numbers. That wouldn't have been so hard to do, I don't believe. And would have begged the question as to, hey, Xbox, PlayStation, are you guys even remotely, are you guys remotely even relevant anymore? Because Nintendo's kind of on your ass. You dig what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? This is hypothetical. Okay? But when we look at the hardcore numbers here, the PS2 was Sony's last, like, full-blown successful system when it comes to numbers was the PS2. The PS3 didn't even break 100 million. It didn't. The PS4 slowed way down. And it shows no signs of speeding up. Even if we get Death Stranding on this generation, even if we get, or when we get The Last of Us Part 2, it's not guaranteed to jump super, super high. I gave you my opinion on how they could make that happen. They're not going to do it. But I don't see them, honestly, I don't see them passing the PS1 sales. Possibly coming in very close to a tie. At best. Okay, there's a reason they're pushing the 100 million, not the 106 million. They're pushing for the 100 million because it's a easier and more obtainable goal than pushing 106 million to at least say, hey, we outsold the PS1 and the PS3 in one generation. So they're trying to shoot more realistically. You know what I'm saying? And again, with Nintendo, I know Nintendo numbers look horrible when you look at them, and I can't even lie, they really do. I don't know how the fuck they keep going down in sales, but whatever. But had the Wii U been like it was, and the well, had the Wii come out and been like it was, and then the Wii U come out and it be like I'm talking about with just a controller and not a gamepad, and it been just as successful as the Wii, oh, you better believe Xbox and PlayStation have got some questions that they need answers for. You know what I'm saying? Because people gonna be looking at them. Yo, Nintendo's getting the same games. They're getting all those third-party games. They got the Grand Theft Auto 4. They got the Grand Theft Auto 5. They got the Skyrims. They got the Oblivions. They got the motherfucking Need for Speeds. You know what I'm saying? They got all the hot titles on the Wii U, right? And those are those third-party games. PlayStation, Xbox, what's it on them first party titles? Because Nintendo's first party titles, y'all know what that is. And them games ain't bad. Them games are still fire, and they look the best on that system because it's Nintendo. So you got to start looking at things in a different perspective. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm telling you this coming from a Nintendo guy. I love Nintendo to death, but I know what hurt the Wii U more than anything was that fucking gamepad. Scared the developers, it scared fans, it didn't make no sense to possible consumers. That was the worst decision you made for the Wii U. That system could have been and should have been just as many, if not more, sales, because you get the Wii games, you get the all that, you get to bring all that over to the Wii U. But not only that, now you got a system that's also there for the hardcore side, the very, very hardcore gamer. It's still casual, but you've added in that hardcore element by giving them a controller with a battery life of 80 hours, which is something you had, but the library of games like Dark Souls, Darksiders, the Splinter Cells, the fucking Grand Theft Autos. You see what I'm saying? You give those games as well with the Wii U. That's where you bring that in with the Wii U, and then bam, that's almost like a perfect storm to set up. You know what I'm saying? It's a shame that the Wii U had to fail the way it did just so we could have the Switch. I'm glad we have the Switch. But I am so much more interested in what system we would have got from Nintendo had they not had a gamepad. Because that's a lot of games on the Wii U that probably would have existed had it had just a regular ass controller.